King John the Great of Aquitaine fell ill in his 59th spring, dying as he lived, leading troops in Charolais on the 10th of May, 1134. After briefly considering a betrothal to the Queen of Denmark, John II surprised many in his court by sending a proposal to the father of an obscure courtier, Ide Wijkersdochter van Vlaanderen, daughter of the Chancellor of Flanders. The proposal on its way, John convened his council, took stock of his vassals, and sent gold and titles to those most aggrieved of the current state of affairs in the realm. Matters settled as well as they could, John II refused the surrender of King Aquitaine of France, preferring to plunder his lands for a while and establish his reputation firmly with his noble cousin that, like his father, he was not to be trifled with. While this war boiled on, Duke Sven of Zeeland sent word invoking an obscure treaty that existed between Aquitaine and his duchy, and John, though far from intending to march his levies north hastily, agreed so as to avoid poor reputation. It was not long after the death of King John the Great that John II realized that he was not the administrator his father was, and he divested himself of the Bishop of Aurillac and the County of Nantes in November 1134. By May 1135, only a year into John's rule, it became apparent that all was not well, with vassals forming factions to reduce the prerogative of the young king, or even place Alessa de Poitou on the throne. Queen Ide went to La Marche to get to the heart of the matter, and gold flowed in an attempt to persuade Aquitaine's vassals to let off these plots and schemes. Nothing came of these overtures, and King John II, feeling that matters were nigh to coming to a head in Aquitaine, received in January 1136 a second missive of surrender from King Aquitaine of France. John accepted terms in his favor, ending that war and securing the county of Nevers. John sent liberal gifts to the lords of Aquitaine, thanking them for their forbearance, then disbanded their levies to march home. Suspecting that war was likely to come whether sought or no, John II raised a company of archers to augment the land's already stout retinue, then remembering his promise to Duke Sven, put to sea with them in April 1136. As John stood on the docks ready to depart for Denmark, Queen Ide sent word that she had successfully found a cleavage in the faction to lower crown authority, and was instructed to use legal means to convince them rather than threats of violence. A review of the royal laws of Aquitaine revealed that while there were some laws that could be changed for better relations with John's vassals, they were on the whole sound and left unmolested, and the land remained at peace. By the summer of 1137, Aquitaine's coffers overflowing, John decided upon a legacy as a builder rather than a conqueror, and embarked upon a policy of improvement of domain lands, establishing villages and towns across Aquitaine, even squirting a child into the belly of the queen. Elaine, a handsome and alert daughter, was born on the 5th of January, 1138. In that same month, John received report that while the factions discovered in 1135 had not abated, neither had they grown more broad. John considered revoking the county of Limousin from Count Hamelin, a known plotter and rebel, but decided against it, deciding instead to send men with purses filled with gold to dissuade anyone not already joined from doing so. Around this time, John began to be known as the Kind, for his liberal nature and because his youthful extravagances had become less prominent against the background of 4 years of relative peace. All was well for a year, and on a spring day in May 1139, while thinking on his daughter, John received word of war at home, not from within, but from without. The King of France had raised his levies to war for the county of Maine. John's policy of pursuing external wars with his retinue, not his levy, was well founded, and he called his vassals to war without fear of rebellion or dissent. However, Aquitaine being far-flung and France being compact worked against John, and King Aquitaine was able to bring Aquitaine's half-assembled levies to battle in Anjou in July 1139. John rushed home with his retinues, receiving word from a messenger who intercepted the Aquitanian fleet off the coast of Normandy that Count Hamelin had made his move to support Alessa de Poitou as the true ruler of Aquitaine. To make matters worse, in September John suffered dual defeats, first of the levies of Aquitaine, then of his retinue, who arrived too late to help the levies, but not too late to avoid interception by the weary but still large French host. Remembering his father's ways, King John II sent a call for hired companies, and in October enrolled the Breton band and the Saxon band in Bordeaux for service against France. While these companies mustered, Jean withdrew his host from northern Aquitaine and fled by boat to Bordeaux, where he joined these mercenary bands and marched east to meet the rebel host, crushing the host of the Duke of Gascogne and killing Mayor Urbingau in February 1140, then marching south into Marsan to put Gascogne on the defensive. Reports of victories and defeats began to come hot and heavy as King Jehan the Kind of Aquitaine fought 3 wars at once in the summer of 1140. Can he defeat the combined hosts of France, Gascogne, and Limousin? And more importantly, can he put a boy child into the belly of the Queen Ide before she decides to take matters into her own hands? The start of the decade saw Jehan the Kind fighting 3 wars, but he was able to maintain the upper hand against the rebellious faction seeking to place Elessa de Poitou on the throne of Aquitaine and prevent the King of France from making much headway against him in his war for Maine. By mid-April 1142, Count Pierre of Limousin sued for peace, and both he and the pretender to the throne were put in chains. Shortly after, another daughter, Ermesens, was born in May 1142, and Jehan marched his host north to crush the King of France, securing his surrender in September of that same year. After disbanding his vassals' levies, King Jehan fought for a short time in Sweden with his retinue in order to fulfill his obligations to an ally, but having no desire to tax his luck, returned home as soon as possible. Jehan's domain being too large to administer properly, he granted the county of Nevers to a cousin, Vezien, in autumn of 1143. The land was peaceful, and Jehan's coffers full, so he put masons to work building in all of his domain lands starting in November 1144, then moved his retinue south to crush a rebellion of peasants in Dax. Jehan was able to improve his holdings again in May of 1145 to the delight of workmen across Aquitaine, and peace continued across the realm, with nothing more exciting than a feast held in January 1147 to drive the cold winter away. By winter, 2 years later in 1149, King Jehan looked south at Rouergue, a rich county rightfully belonging to Aquitaine, and on Christmas Day delivered cartel and defiance to King Jourdain of France. Jehan's levies marched into Rouergue and sacked its cities and castles by summer of 1150. The decade ends with Jehan's host ready to march to Toulouse, where the French host lays siege, but a larger concern looms, that of the heir to Aquitaine. Queen Ide being far past the flower of youth, prospects are not bright for a boy heir. Will the proud Occitan lords of Aquitaine accept a woman as liege, or will there be war and division in the land of Aquitaine? As it turned out, King Jourdain of France had no stomach for war. After his host was defeated in Toulouse, Foix, and Carcassonne, he surrendered the county of Rouergue in November 1150. Just as Jehan was settling into resignation about never having a son, Her Majesty Queen Ide shuffled off this mortal coil on the 26th of July, 1151. A good wife in all ways but one, Jehan was torn between sadness at losing such a capable partner and hope that he might have a son. Though a devout sodomite, Jehan knew his duty to the family well, and threw into marriage with a hot young wife from Ireland, who soon was teaching the aging king new tricks in the bedroom. Jehan survived the heat of this new passion, and in July 1154 a third daughter, Elessa, was born. By 1155, growing increasingly impatient upon hearing that Sinead was with child a second time, he proclaimed that it had better be a boy, and in February 1156 his wishes were granted as John III came into the world at last. Sinead having served her purposes, John turned away from her, and instead of acceding to her suggestion that she introduce new fashions at court, suggested that they should instead go to church. Concerned at what the Queen's continually climbing atop his royal prerogative might yield in terms of additional heirs, John pressed for increased crown authority and changed the succession law of Aquitaine to primogeniture in 1158. To celebrate, John held a grand tournament, which, while costly, was somewhat anticlimactic as three rather middling jousters through trick of fate and dint of luck won out over the sturdier fighting men of the realm. To put away the disappointment of the not-so-grand tournament, King John called a grand hunt to be held. The hunt showed great promise, with hares and a mighty boar brought to bay soon, but when John grabbed a spear to do combat with a bear, his life was nearly taken and he was crippled for life. Crippled or no, Sinead was no less fervent in the bedroom, and by June 1159 she was showing with child a third time. and gave birth to a healthy boy, Raymond, in January 1160. King John, addled by tourney, hunt, maiming, feast, and sex, he set out to revoke the Prince-Bishopric of Agen for Raymond, not remembering that he had changed succession law in Aquitaine a short 18 months ago. The decade ended well, with John having mitigated some problems but now troubled by others. Over the years of peace, workmen built many new developments in John's domain holdings, and his chancellor roams the land, securing goodwill for the aging king. Can he live long enough to allow John III to grow to manhood, or will Aquitaine have a boy king? John's frail constitution notwithstanding, he responded positively in 1162 to the King of England's request for aid against Duke Ælfwin's attempt to take the throne. Thankfully, this war ended within a few months, and all was well. In 1163, John cast an ambitious eye south to Melguil, declaring war against the King of France in order to secure a port on the Mediterranean Sea. John the Kind's support of the King of England was returned, and France could not long resist the combined force of England and Aquitaine. After a series of quickly conducted assaults in Melguil and Narbonne, France surrendered in March 1164. As John marched his levies home, word reached him that the Pope Mark II had declared a crusade for Jerusalem. John sent a quick rider east to the Holy See with word that he was right glad to do his devoir, then mustered his levies, landing them in Durham on the 22nd of September, 1164. By October, King John now being recognized as a crusader, the Aquitanian host crushed the infidel outside the gates of Harbigeat, and the remainder of Aquitaine's levies arrived in Ascalon in December. Sharp assaults on Ascalon, Harbigeat, and Ajalon followed, with the result that the county of Ascalon was fully controlled by John by March of 1165. John then marched as quickly as possible to Jerusalem, helping to bring low a large infidel host that same month. While laying siege to Durham in February 1166, a messenger brought word of the infidels' surrender, and that the kingdom of Jerusalem had been granted to King John the Kind, now king of Aquitaine and Jerusalem. John quickly called a council, created the duchies of Ascalon and Ultrajordaine, granted titles to his loyal vassals as equitably as possible, then returned to Aquitaine, crushing rebellions in Melguil and La Marche. A rebellion in Ascalon in 1167 forced King John to permanently station his retinue in the kingdom of Jerusalem, as the land, being largely Muslim, would not provide levies for its own protection. All the while, John III grew up bravely and under an open sky, promising to become a good king upon his father's death. Sinead, fertile as always, began to show yet again with child over Yuletide 1167. King John, feeling his life slipping away from him, declared war on the rebel Duke of Burgundy, hoping to join Maine by Anjou, then raised his host and flooded into that contested county. Burgundy proved stubborn, but by March 1169 sent word of surrender. As King John penned his acceptance, death took him on the 27th of March, 1169. King John II, called the Kind, had over his 35 years as king greatly expanded Aquitaine and secured his place in history. Can John III, brave lad though he is, follow in the very large footsteps of his grandfather and father, and preserve Aquitaine and the kingdom of Jerusalem against the assaults that are sure to come? 13 years old. Let's get you educated. Me, and then who? Let's try him. Ooh. Very grim. Very grim. Alright. So, let's see if we can buy our way out of this. No. Okay. Okay, already sent it. Then I need to get rid of a couple of domain pieces here. Let's see what I've got here. The ones that are weakest are drawing in pretty good taxes. I need you to hold on this until I can come get it back from you. I think I need you over here. Come to think of it. Yes, right there. Get this done as quickly as I can. I'd rather have the war with him rather than having Lola. Okay, come on. Excellent. That's fine. Do I have another ally? Appears not. Ah, very good. Humble is quite handy. Oh, so lucky. Oh my goodness. Wow. This whole time I did not even know he had consumption, but see if I can end this. I can implement medium crown authority, or I can deal with a gigantic rebellion. Yeah, I went to the high crown authority only to set seniority. So I'll do it. I'll do it. It's what I would have wanted to do anyway. Alright, and then I will put you in jail. King John III is probably well on his way to getting his vassals under control. Yes, it does appear so. Let it play forward a moment or two. See whether Crush the Rebellion comes up. No. Well, I guess it was not a rebellion. I guess it was just me exercising my right as king on a vassal. So let's get somebody in charge of this mob. Yeah, that's good right there. Okay. Disband that fleet. Alright, let's take a look at the vassals here. How are they looking? Okay. Not bad. You have claims. You are not going to get married anytime soon. Okay, good. Good. Let's see now. Okay. So 14 years old, not yet betrothed. Let's look at this here. Louisa, the Duchess of Navarra. She is the highest ranking female available at this time. Traits are pretty terrible, minus this one. Whoa, 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 whoa. So she has Duchy of Navarra and the County of Navarra. And a weak claim on the Barony of Rodet here. Okay. Not terribly interested in that. 7-year-old Duchess of Paphlagonia. She is a 1-county duchess. Not terribly special. Perhaps her. Let's look at her situation here. Yes. Okay, now let's take a look at the realm. Let's examine the situation here. Centaur has entirely too much power concentrated up underneath him. So does Louisa. Okay, yep. Okay, so come to understand, it's a pretty good tree underneath Centaur here. Centaur appears to like me. He's got 2 counties. He's got a weak claim on the Duchy of Navarra. Stressed and maimed. He's not likely to live very long. Let's get a grasp of what's going on over here. So, the reason why he hates me so is because John the Kind granted him the counties, but did not grant him the titles underneath the county. Now, I could fix this guy pretty easily by transferring a bunch of titles underneath him, but he's ambitious. So, doing so would only give him greater power. It would not address the fact that he you know, is likely to rebel anyway. So, for now, he's just going to remain in jail. He may die. He may ask to get out of jail, and I may have to put him in the pit. So, if he does, I will. So let's take a look at technology here real quick again. Okay, so things are going to happen here that are going to be good here very soon. A lot of these bits of technology are coming along. Yep. Yep. Very good. Very good. So, yeah, a lot of these are going to improve here very soon, so that's nice. I wouldn't say very soon, but within a while, within a fairly reasonable amount of time. Thank you. Okay, the best chancellor is appointed. Swayfred is a better marshal. Let's appoint him. Let's pull him off of taking care of those troops. Let's get him working on military technology. He would like to get married to Alessa. No. Let's see about the stewards. Okay, the best steward is appointed. My regent is my spy master. I can't get rid of him. And court chaplain, the best person, is on the job, and he's already in Jaffa, trying to convert the populace. Huh. Interesting. He didn't die. Just been pushed out of the office. Yeah, they've got rather nice technology. Oh, very good. Very good. Excellent. So, a big problem is that all of these lands are still Muslim. But, working on it. Working on it. Can work that claim. Let's find someone to educate her. Get my high-ranking dukes up here. John is 15, born in February, about 1 more year to go. Hopefully. Oh, well, sir. The oubliette for you, the oubliette. Holding on to the gold for a while. I'm going to wait for it to get to be 2,500 before doing another round of improvements. Count Paul of Melguil. He is excommunicated. He really dislikes Count Paul. Very well. Let's see here now. What can we do? Cannot improve my relations with the Pope through requesting a remission of sins or buying an absolution. Perfect. Now, let's see here. I want to make things go away. Count Thibault of Bourbon. Okay. Let's get him working over there. Let's see also. That may make that problem go away. Possibly. Interesting. I cannot change the crown authority in Jerusalem yet. Well, we'll hold on for now. Excellent. Templar castle here. Okay. Good. Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, this is... Organizer is one of the best brilliant strategist traits, extra traits, as far as I'm concerned. The movement speed and the retreat speed can save you so many times. You just being able to get away and break contact from an enemy that is larger than you can save you so many times. Plus, you get places quicker. So, very good, very good. Still, the domain is too large. Let's get married here and see whether or not that fixes things. No, the fact that I'm no longer under a regency, that fixed it. Let's try and build the prestige back up. Let's try and have a son. Very good. Okay, my high-ranking people here. Let's see who is in factions. Count Arnaud, Count Vezien. Let's go ahead and do a round of improvements in the kingdom. Let's do the cheapest ones. Okay. Okay, very good. Get him working someplace else now. slow but steady progress. No? Now let's check retinues and see whether I can get another retinue. Yes, I can. Very good. Very good. Can we get her married? Okay. These are all the individuals who will marry her matrilineally. There's really no need for that. Are there any people who will marry we can get alliances from? No. Appears not. So anybody that we can have her married to that will bring a very excellent individual into the court. Particularly great, Fabrizio. He's a pretty good all-around fellow. Now, will she come back? No. Sending a gift. There we go. So, send her out, and then bring him back in. There we go. Oh no, Mayor Hermigao. Excellent. Alright, I've got a little bit of a problem with my cursor here, so I'm going to have to... Let's get somebody in charge of this rabble. Yeah, that's good. Okay, see, now Blasi doesn't hate me nearly as much. I wonder if I can change the laws now. I'll keep it high for as long as I can. Okay, factions seem to be less of a problem now. Hold on here. And end that plot. Now I can arrest Duke Centaur, the 4th of Gascon. Huh. Duke Centaur has quite a bit of power, and I can arrest him. Well, I can't just revoke a title. We'll just see whether we can get him to end his plot. Oh, lucky day. Lucky day. Alright, let's find somebody better to give that to. You might recall that he was extremely ambitious and very difficult to manage. He's a good enough fellow. Let's grant him a landed title. Alright, very good. Okay, and he also remains my steward. Very good. Okay. Very good. This is proceeding nicely. Okay. Let's see how this is proceeding now. 3 of these counties are now Catholic. Excellent. That's nice. Wow, he's become quite the powerhouse. She's a genius, but she has a little trouble getting pregnant, it seems. Let's hold a feast. Again, costly but worth it. Ooh, food poisoning. Be happy with me. Hopefully I will get well. Mayor Ermengarde, the drunk. Count Aimery. Count Aimery always seems to be complaining. I remember another feast a while back where he was pretty upset about how things are going. Very good. Let's continue to build this retinue up over in the Levant so that it is available when needed. Decline those. Now, I want to examine this a little bit here. So as of right now, we take a look at de jure kingdoms. we'll see that all of this is the de jure kingdom of Jerusalem. Now, I should be able to make war for these. The Muzaffaradin Emirate. I could expand this. And that as well. Well, it seems to me like a smart move to make this as large as possible. A matrilineal marriage. No. So I could make war over here for these counties on a de jure basis to create the full kingdom of Jerusalem, the full de jure kingdom of Jerusalem, this county as well. I'm going to hold off for a time. Instead, building my domain lands. Again, I will go with the cheaper of the options. Keeping an extremely large reserve of gold. Let's take a look at Spain here while the time is ticking along. Genoa has exploded onto the scene, creating an extremely large holding here in North Africa. Venice, also very large. Pisa, also very large. The trade republics are very strong in this scenario. France is back together, but still quite weak. Not so weak that the Holy Roman Empire has invaded it. Still under Queen Catherine I of France. The Holy Roman Empire is under Kaiser Heinrich the Just, a Salian, still under that same dynasty, but wounded and infirm, about to pass it on to his heir, Duke Norbert I of Bohemia. Normandy has broken off from England, which is extremely fractured this time. England will pass into the de Poitou dynasty. Now, not my line, but still the de Poitou dynasty. Conversions in the Holy Land are coming along at a good clip. And let's go take a look. See, this is exactly what you want to have happen here. These two are... Oh, excellent. Wow. Wow, exceedingly rapid conversion here. Let's get into Ascalon. No. He wants to fabricate a claim on the Duchy of Ascalon. Yes, the county of Beersheb. I'll let him continue on with that business. He wants to kill Duke Eblis of Anjou. Duke Eblis has many claims, and Berkta is pregnant. Excellent. Let's hope for a pair of genius twins. He just wants to kill that guy for some reason. He just wants to kill his brother for some reason. Oh, very well. Let's hold a summer fair. to stay. I don't need riots and all manner of craziness going on. I'm going to wait a little while, because what I'd like to do is I'd like to add a knight retinue, and I need another 1,000 to get a knight retinue. I will allow them to stay, because if I take a look at my retinue, I think we'll see composition here. 2,400 archers, 600 heavy infantry, 600 light cavalry, and 400 heavy cavalry. I'd like to build up the heavy cavalry a bit. I've got a lot of archers, so very effective force for winnowing down an enemy, but I'd like to have a little more punching power. Okay, not a genius. Hold on for a second. And let's go on a grand hunt. I am pretty great after all. Can I organize another hunt? Yes, I can. First, I'll decline that. A boar. Face it along with my spear. That will happen. That will happen. Let's hold another feast. I think we'll see that the vassals are quite happy with me, minus a few of them. Spend lavishly on food. Count Vezian. Duke Eblis. Ooh. We'll become friends. A lot of drunkards at this feast. Nice. Plus 100 for being a friend. My God, the drunkenness. My God. Except for this guy. This guy here, he isn't interested in getting drunk. He just wants to refuse wine. He wants to be independent, does he? Can't send him a gift, and there are no titles I can give him. Very good. Okay. Now it's time to press this claim in France. The reason why is because I have it. Oh, I can press that one as well. I would rather go this direction here. I'd rather finish this up, close this up. Oh, well, I'd rather do this then, and get this port. I may save it for later if I need it. Okay. Very well. Excellent. Now I have a four-kingdom war going on for this county. Please end that plot. Thank you, my good spy master. Now, I get to go over to Durham here and get... Oh, interesting there. I do have a fair number of levies over here. Okay, so let's disband these levies. Very good. to see my cousin up here is taking care of business. Wait for a little while. England not exactly taking an aggressive stance against France in my behalf. Oh, very good. Pregnant again. The Queen Ermescence for Jerusalem faction. Very well. The city of Harbija. This city of Harbija. To create a vassal. Transfer vassalage. There we go. Let's try that. What I can do is I can eventually try and get fewer counties into his hands later on. My nephew wants to marry my sister. This guy's got some claims. So does she. No. The decade ends with power successfully transferred in Aquitaine, the conversion of Outremer to Christianity well underway, attendees of the legendary Winter Feast of 1178 still recovering, an attempt to forge a joining of England and Aquitaine stopped before it could begin, and a war for Narbonne going well for King Jehan III of Aquitaine. Can King Jehan III continue to hold on to the Kingdom of Jerusalem, or will disaster strike? Will the Kingdom of France, weakened by Aquitaine, seek refuge as a vassal of the Holy Roman Empire? Most importantly, will Count Fabrizio ever get the puke out of his shoes? Perhaps we'll find out next chapter. Thanks for watching.